Hi there, this is Eric. Today is the 23rd of March 2024, and in this video, we'll be doing together exercises on the new republic in Brazil. So that is a period of the history of Brazil that I pretty much identify with more than the other periods, since this is the time of my existence. So let's start doing the exercises then. So the first exercise says, consider the statements below about the process of political reopening, which occurred with the end of the military regime, 1964 to 1985. So the first alternative is Tancredo Neves was the first civilian president elected with the end of the military regime. Yes, that's right. However, he did not take office due to his unexpected death, still in 1985. Yes, that is right. One of the characteristics of José Sarney's government, 1985 to 1989, was the fight against inflation. Yes, a problem definitely solved with the Cruzado Plan. No way. There was lots of inflation in this time, and José Sarney didn't manage to solve the problem. So this one is wrong. The 1988 Constitution sought to reorganize the democratic order in Brazil after the end of the dictatorship and became known as a citizen constitution for promoting the expansion of social rights in the country. Yes. With the end of the dictatorship, the politicians who supported the regime through ARENA, National Renewal Alliance, remained in power. Creating the Social Democratic Party, PDS, which was the big winner of the elections for the state governments in 1982 and 1986. No, that is not right. Why, Eric? Because with the end of the dictatorship, the party that was pretty benefited was the MDB, which was not linked with the bad image of the dictatorship of the military regime, right? So that had nothing to do with the Social Democratic Party, right? So this is incorrect for this reason. So we have 1 and 2, which give us the alternative. Oh, let me see here if I'm doing the right thing here. 1, 2, yes, 1 and 3. I'm searching for 1 and 2 here, but no, it's 1 and 3. Alternative A. Yes, that's right. Question 2 to 5. With the return of the military to the barracks and the redemocratization of Brazil, President José Sarney called a National Constituent Assembly, which was elected in November 1986. On October 5th, 1988, what became known as a Citizen Constitution was promulgated. Perfect. Tick. Among the alternatives, the one that presents novelties incorporated into the Brazilian Constitution text in 1988. Let's see it. Expansion of citizenship with the extension of the right to vote to the illiterate. Creation of hobbyist data that allows citizens to obtain information related to their person contained in official records. Perfect, guys. We don't even have to read the others. This one is totally correct, right? I'm not going to be reading the others because you clearly see some bottlenecks there. For example, expansion of citizenship with the extension of the right to vote to those over 16 years of age, optional voting, no way. So end of union unity, no way. So all of them have a bottleneck, as I said. So question 3 of 5. And it reads, at the heart of our community, the conception that there were men who were by nature diverse stubbornly remained, broken down by their history, biology, and conditions. So much so that the fate of free and poor men, indeed the vast majority of the population, as usual, right, revolved around relations of favor, a reality that is much more exercised based on the structures of personal dependence than on a list of civil or social rights. So basically, what the text really is saying is that there was a conception that men were that had diverse natures, and that because they were naturally diverse. The thing is that the reason why free and poor men are free and are free and poor, and that is the majority of the population, is because of a relations of favor scheme, which hampers, civil or social rights. But let's keep reading the exercises. The exercise, sorry. Reflecting on civil rights, whose normative principle is individual liberty, and that persons bound to obey the laws should have an equal right, point out the alternative in which the authors express the application of civil rights in Brazil in the first decade and a half of the 21st century. So that goes until 2015. Let's see it. The maintenance of favor means the very denial of rights, since it implies inflating personal and private powers to the detriment of the official and public sphere. Perfect, guys. This is perfect. What does it mean? You have to be very careful when you read, the exercise and the alternatives. Sometimes you have to read it twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and regardless of the number of times that you have to read it, you have to make sure that you understand what it is saying, right? So basically, favor means that the rights are being denied, because it means that some people, some specific individuals and companies are being favored. And that goes against the egalitarian justice and freedom that all people should have before the law. So that's the very reality that we see here in Brazil. Favor B, right? Alternative B says, favor is a reward given to members of society. A reward given to members of society? No, it happens, but not as a reward for not having guaranteed civil rights. It's like, some people don't have their civil rights guaranteed, so they receive this favor. No way, it's really, really nonsense, right? So alternative A is the correct one. Question 4 out of 5. The government of President Fernando Henrique Cardoso sought to continue the economic stabilization initiated with the Real Plan, 1994, based on reduced public deficit through a constitutional reform aimed at shrinking the state's participation in the economy and a program of privatization of state-owned companies, especially in the telecommunications, energy, and steel sectors. It is correct to say that such measures have had as a consequence. So let's analyze it. The devaluation of the national currency due to privatizations and the consequent inflation that directly affected the poorest population? No, this is definitely wrong, because the national currency during during both Fernando Henrique Cardoso mandates did not suffer any impact, any bad impacts, right? Yes, there were privatizations, but the national currency was not devaluated, not in a bad way, with the exception of something that happened in the second mandate because of all the things that were happening worldwide at the time. But that did not impact the poorest population. And by the way, it was Fernando Henrique Cardoso who created, some social programs to support the poorest population, right? And that caused, him not to accentuate the social inequalities that plagues the country. So no, there are many lies here in this alternative. The control of inflation and the reduced concentration of income, the control of inflation, yes, and the reduced concentration of income, yes. However, the competition of international products ended up generating a large number of bankruptcies of national companies, yes, in addition to unemployment, especially in the industrial sector, yes. That is a correct alternative. Let's see C, for example. The increase in the country's investment capacity in large infrastructure projects such as the Itaipu and Tucuruí hydroelectric plants, in addition to renewing the Brazilian road network through duplication works on the main roads. No, that did not happen. The depreciation of the market value of telephone, energy, and steel companies. No, that did not happen either. Greater efficiency in the sector of essential industrial services, such as highways, electricity, mobile telephony, and internet. No. Internet, yes, it is something that emerged by 1995 and 1996. But in terms of, mobile telephony, highways, there was not an expressive efficiency as the exercise is saying. Growth of domestic, the growth of the gross domestic product by 10% per year. This period being known as the spectacle of growth that never existed. There's not such an spectacle of growth periods during the Fernando Henrique Cardoso mandates, right? That here, what we see is that the alternative is really trying to confuse, the student with what we call the Brazilian miracle at the time of the military regime, right? With Ernesto Geisel. Sorry, not Ernesto Geisel. I forgot the name of the president. My God. But anyway, it was Médici. Yes, Médici. It was with Médici that we had the miracle, right? The Brazilian miracle. And finally, question 5 out of 5. Read the text below. With the defeat of the Dante de Oliveira amendment that proposed a direct election for president of the Republic, the opposition political parties began a political articulation to compete in the presidential election in the Electoral College, and Tancredo Neves was chosen, thus beating the official candidate Paulo Maluf, which was later on accused of many corruption cases and lawsuits. Right? The elected president, Tancredo Neves, died before taking office. José Sarney, the vice president, was sworn in as the president of the Republic. He was Tancredo Neves' vice president. Thus began the new republic. Great. Based on the text, consider the following statements. Under President José Sarney, the privatization process was expanded. No. It didn't happen. It would happen later on with Fernando Henrique Cardoso, as we had just emphasized. So this one is wrong. With the removal of President Fernando Collor, Itamar Franco assumed the presidency. Yes, President Fernando Collor was impeached and Itamar Franco assumed the presidency, whose main task was to control inflation. Yes. To this end, the president launched the so-called Real Plan. Yes. Perfect. After taking office, President Fernando Collor announced an economic plan that, among other measures, confiscated about 80% of the money in circulation in the country, including savings accounts. Yes. That was a dreadful thing to do, don't you think? Anyway, and in February 1986, the government of President José Sarney launched the Cruzado Plan with the full support of the business community of industry and commerce. No. Achieved full success. No. Definitely ending inflation. No. It would happen with the Real Plan in the Itamar Franco mandate, as we had just mentioned, right? As we have just mentioned. Only the following statements are correct. So which ones are correct here? 2 and 3. That gives us alternative C. So I hope you have enjoyed the exercises. They're very good. And I hope to see you in our next video on the history of Brazil in English. Okay, thank you so much and see you in our next video.